The Chargers coaching search includes a minimum of 11 candidates. The Bears appear to woo Caleb Williams by interviewing a USC coach. Just not that one. And Todd McClellan's coaching gig with the Kings isn't in jeopardy. Yet. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is January 19th, 2024. By the time you see this clip, I'm going to be on a plane heading east to St. Loser, Missouri. Not looking forward to it. Miss my wife already, but what the hell. Let's keep the mood light. Let's talk some LA sports. And then we got a lot of sports to talk about. If you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Look forward to hearing from you. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Drew Daddy scored, but the Kings have lost 10 of their last 11 games, including last night, 2-1 to the Nashville Predators. We're going to talk more about the Kings in a moment. Meanwhile, today, Brooklyn is in town to play the Lakers at 7. Cam Reddish is day-to-day, according to Coach Darvin Ham. Lingering knee injury for Reddish. Reddish has missed the last 2 games. But what do you say we get to the news? Like I said, lots of it. The Chargers have interviewed former Tennessee Titans coach Mike Vrabel on Thursday. The chat was Vrabel's first known interview since the Titans whacked him last week. But he is also scheduled to talk with Atlanta and Seattle. Vrabel posted losing seasons for his last 2 seasons in Tennessee. He did get the Titans to the playoffs in 3 of the 6 years that he coached them. You can also understand the Chargers' interest. Vrabel could even be a plan B if the Bolts whiff on Jim Harbaugh. After the Brandon Staley debacle, they theoretically want someone who emphasizes accountability and discipline, which was something, again, that Staley didn't exactly seem to prioritize that much. Vrabel played under Bill Belichick, that whole Patriot way thing. Ian Rappaport added that the Chargers have also interviewed former Stanford coach David Shaw. This would bring the total candidate interview list up to 11. And by the way, the Chargers aren't stopping there. There's more. There are at least 3 other coaches who the Bolts would like to talk with, and one of them would be Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. There was once chit-chat about how Caleb Williams wanted to bring Lincoln Riley with him to the NFL. Do you remember that? Now, maybe Williams doesn't have that much pull, nor should he, by the way. But you have to wonder if the Chicago Bears, who hold the top pick in the upcoming NFL draft, are trying to flirt a little with Williams. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not spritzing up with Christian Dior cologne, but they are expected to interview USC offensive analyst Kliff Kingsbury for the vacant offensive coordinator job. Kingsbury is a former NFL coach with Arizona. He's a big believer in the air raid offense, which of course Caleb Williams ran over at USC, and I'm sure will work wonders next to Lake Michigan in the dead of winter. But I digress. The Athletic also decided to look for optimism and pessimism for each former Pac-12 team and where they're moving to. Looking at USC, the Athletic liked that the Trojans finally rid themselves of Alex Grinch. Well, who didn't? But they are not totally sold on DeAnton Lynn as the new defensive coordinator, because Lynn inherited all of his talent when he was hired over at UCLA, whereas the Trojans are literally trying to build the defense from the ground up. Last season, I told you the Scribes would not forgive USC's coach Lincoln Riley for temporarily suspending the press pass of Orange County registered Luca Evans. And by the way, at the time, I also said that what Riley did was clearly in the wrong. It is perfectly journalistically ethical for beat writers to ask players pretty much any question, so long as it's not during a practice, during a game, during a team function. If you run into a player and he knows you're a scribe and you're not trying to lie to him, pretty much anything is fair game. But In the case of Evans, Riley and USC didn't like the fact that he was interviewing players outside of designated interview spots. Now, Riley and USC got power mad, and they slapped them down. The reporters slapped them down. I bring this up because scribes carry grudges. CBSSports.com graded every second-year college football coach, and they gave Lincoln Riley a D. A D. I'm sorry, that is literally the lowest grade of any second-year coach in a Power 5 conference. You're telling me Lincoln Riley was the worst of any coach in their second year in a Power 5 conference? Absolute crap. Now, I will agree that the Trojans missed their expectations last year. By far, no question about it. But USC still won their bowl game. USC finally came to terms with that awful defense. And again, like we said earlier, got rid of Alex Grinch. They produced a Heisman Trophy winner in the 2 years under Lincoln Riley's watch. And said Heisman winner is likely the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. How in the blue hell does that add up to a D? Of course it doesn't. 4 coaches in their second year in college football in the Power 5 program have sub 500 records after 2 years. They were still awarded better grades than Riley. The only rationale for a grade that low is pettiness. Nothing but pettiness. The Athletic has opined 4 reasons for the Kings' current slump. One was somewhat obvious, that the scoring that had been throughout the lineup has clearly dissipated. Anze Kopitar hasn't scored a goal in 10 games, for example. Another reason, Pierre-Luc Dubois hasn't been taking over games, which was anticipated before the year. The defense isn't contributing to the offense either, and Cam Talbot, while a capable goaltender, isn't going to steal games away the way Jonathan Quick used to. All of which sounds like excuse-making to the average guy. And trust me, I am nothing if not average. So Kings GM Rob Blake went to the press yesterday, and he told them that he is not even considering firing coach Todd McClellan. Quote, no, not at all. Those were the exact words. Blake said that the players have bought into McClellan's system. Quote, I'm going to rely on the players and the leadership to get us out of that. Unquote. We have a goalie competition with the LA Galaxy, according to reporter Mike Gray. Manager Greg Vanney told reporters that he has not committed to a starting goaltender for the upcoming season. So what do you have? You have the incumbent, Jonathan Bond, Novik Mokovic, and newly signed John McCarthy, who helped LAFC win MLS Cup 2 seasons ago. Now keep in mind, the Galaxy conceded 67 goals in all competitions last year. In MLS competition alone, they came in worst in terms of goals allowed. Vanney thinks the Galaxy this year can cut it in half. I love the Galaxy. I don't buy that for a moment. I totally have my doubts. Here's why. The Galaxy are in the rumor mill for a bunch of really fast, forward-thinking wingers to add to the offense. You might have heard the names Gabriel Peck. You might have heard the name Joseph Paintsill. Analytics folks said that they ran the numbers on both Peck and Paintsill, and the problem with them is, they're very forward-thinking, very effective on the attack, but so forward-thinking that they get beaten on the counterattack. They get beaten on defense. And by the way, midfielder Ricky Puig doesn't play any defense at all. That is going to leave the back line consistently exposed. So no, I am not buying into the Galaxy cutting in half the number of goals that they allowed. Playing a much more exciting brand of soccer? Absolutely. Quick? Exciting? Sure, I'll buy that. Only allowing 33 goals in all competition? No, not so much. Speaking of Puig, he has not arrived in the United States to train yet. He is still getting treated for an ankle issue that kept him out for the last couple of matches last season. So that's a wee bit concerning. And I might also add, once again, the foreign soccer press is trying to whisper sweet nothings in our ears. And there is a thing by sweet nothings. The sweet part, that the Galaxy is trying to sign Carlos Vela, which would literally be a middle finger to LAFC. The nothing part, there's nothing to it. It's never going to happen. The local scribes are all in unison. They've checked their sources. It's not happening. We said it before on this channel. We'll say it again. Carlos Vela is not coming to the LA Galaxy. It was literally only yesterday when we were talking about Rams coach Sean McVay. Sean McVay was telling us that if you really want to get under his skin, if you really want to bleep him off, create a trade rumor about quarterback Matthew Stafford. McVay went out of his way to say how much he was 100% unequivocally, completely behind Matthew Stafford. Well, Mike Sando of The Athletic pretty much said, hey, I love not taking people at their word. Let's just piss off Sean McVay. And boy, did he. Sando created a scenario where the Rams trade for Miami's Tua Tagovailoa. And so as much as I love reading The Athletic, slow golf clap for Mike Sando. The slowest of golf claps for such profound stupidity. Well done. McVay does literally everything short of sacrificing his own child on Mount Moriah, but the scribes just won't have it. Gossip must be made. There is a bottomless hole of gossip. Get your shovels, start filling. Former Notre Dame defensive back Ramon Henderson has transferred to UCLA. The dude has played in 37 games for the Irish in the last 3 seasons, which, by the way, is very necessary coming into LA because the Bruins lost multiple backs via the transfer portal. 2 alone went to USC to follow DeAnton Lynn. So the Bakersfield native has a chance to contribute quickly. We also mentioned the whole optimism-pessimism thing for USC. As for UCLA, the reason for optimism is they now know Ethan Garbers is a quarterback, instead of that triple-headed interception monster that the Bruins trotted out at quarterback last year. What they fear about the Bruins is kind of obvious. Chip Kelly's on shaky ground, DeAnton Lynn left for USC, and the recruiting class is terrifyingly low. Lakers coach Darvin Ham rallied to support D'Angelo Russell, who has had this up and down season, but with his recent promotion back to the starting lineup, kind of up. And the reason Ham felt compelled to back Russell up is because Russell's name keeps popping up in all these whack trade rumors that you hear involving the Lakers. Quote, we re-signed him because we knew he could help us. We still believe he can help us. Everyone keeps talking about... It's that time of year, I guess, with the trade talk. The reality of it is we have what we had down the stretch last year as well as more firepower. We can stop looking around and just look at ourselves. There's a ton of excellent basketball that we can play, and he's right at the forefront of that, unquote. Now, if you watch this channel at all, you know that we spend a lot of energy talking up stupid Dodgers rumors, stupid Lakers rumors. Why stop there? Who wants to hear a stupid Clippers rumor? Really? Okay. Mark Stein, a former ESPN guy who honestly hasn't been that accurate with his predictions, claims Philadelphia is interested in Paul George. Now, to be clear, I know Mark Stein. Haven't seen him in decades, but I knew him. And he's the type of guy who always hedges his bets, you know? There was no way let me rephrase. He hedges his bets so that nobody can claim he made a prediction that was way far out over his skis. So in other words, he's not saying Philadelphia is trying to make a blockbuster trade for Paul George. No. He is saying Philly wants George only if Paul George and the Clippers can't come to a contract extension. Now understand how dopey that story actually sounds. One, most everyone already knows that the Clippers aren't going to let George go without a fight, for one. Two, yes, the Sixers are going to have a ton of cap space since trading James Harden. But who do you think is going to try to talk Paul George into not going to Philadelphia? It would be James Harden. So you tell me, doesn't that sound like a story created in the fervent mind of a scribe? Because it sounds that way to me. That is a trade rumor, or I should say a free agent rumor with zero basis in reality. Jasmine Thomas, who last played for the Sparks, has announced her retirement from the WNBA. She played 13 years in the league. She came back from a ruptured anterior cruciate ligament to play last year. So good luck in the next stage of life, Miss Thomas. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, if you think Mike Vrabel has a legit shot at being the Chargers coach. Do you actually think that Caleb Williams now would consider playing for the Chicago Bears now that Kliff Kingsbury might be a coach? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.